Hi 2D. This afternoon, we are going to be doing the experiment, mealworms in the light and dark. So I need you to open your binders and turn to the page that looks like this, where it says mealworms in the light and dark. So get that page, pause the video if you need to, and then we're going to answer that question. So the question is, will my mealworm prefer a light or dark area? So I want you to think about what you know about your mealworm, about where it lives, about what you've seen it do in our other experiments. And I want you to predict, will it prefer to be in a light or dark area? If I give it the choice between two areas, which one will it move to? So pause the video and write your hypothesis. Remember, what do all hypotheses begin with? I think or I predict. And they should end with punctuation, period, in this case. So please write your hypothesis. I predict that my mealworm will prefer a light area, or I predict that my mealworm will prefer a dark area. Pause the video and write. So now we need to write our method. What is the first thing we're going to need to do in order to test our hypotheses? So we need to set up a light area and a dark area. So what we're going to do for step one is we are going to stack a binder on top of a book to make a dark tunnel. So we're going to stack a binder on top of a book to make a dark tunnel. That's step one. Make sure you write that down in our underneath method on your paper. Number two, now that I have that dark tunnel created, I need a light area. So I am going to shine a flashlight down next to the dark area. I'm going to shine that flashlight straight down so that I make a light space right next to the dark area. So my mealworm has a choice between the two. Third, I need my mealworm. I'm going to place the mealworms on the border between the light and dark areas. And finally, what's always our last step with our mealworms, we're going to observe the mealworms. See what they do. Now, unlike normal experiments in the classroom where you have just one mealworm at a time, I'm going to do all of our mealworms at once so that we can see what happens, since I can't give everybody an individual video. Okay, we are going to try to do this experiment. So I've set up the dark tunnel. Make sure that you've finished writing your method before you get up to this part, but I've got the dark tunnel under this binder and the book. I'm going to add our mealworms to this line between the light and the dark, and we're going to see which direction they go, light or dark. So here's the first mealworm. Here's the second mealworm. Third mealworm. Fourth mealworm. Fifth. Sixth. Seventh. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. We'll give them a moment and see where they go. Now I have one mealworm over here that moved into the light but crawled right back to the dark. But I've got 2 mealworms in the light right now, and maybe we can even count that third. But all the other mealworms went into the dark. And so since I have 16, if we have 3 mealworms in the light, how many mealworms do we have in the dark? That's right. We have 13 mealworms in the dark. You can skip the results section on the front because you didn't have an individual mealworm, but we're going to move to the back where it says data, and we're going to fill in our data. So how many mealworms moved to the light? We had 1, 2, 3. So we're making 3 tallies in the chart. And how many moved to the dark? we had 13. So 5 tallies, another 5 tallies, and then 3 more tallies. And that gives us our total of 16 mealworms. Data. What can we say is our conclusion? What did most mealworms do? Most mealworms moved toward a dark place. So that's our conclusion. You can fill that in your last set of lines, the conclusion, and then you'll be done. And does that make sense to you? Does it make sense to us that most mealworms would move toward a dark place? Let's think about where mealworms live. Our mealworms usually live inside of cornmeal. They bury themselves. They live underground, essentially. So it does make a lot of sense that our mealworms would move toward a dark place. That's the end of our experiment 2D. If you have time and you want to move on to the video that the rest of the second grade is doing, you may, but if that took up all of your science time for today, that's it. You're done. I'll see you next week when we're back in person. Bye.